A real sign of emotional maturity is the capacity or the ability to tolerate uncertainty well, to be able to sit with discomfort, and also to be able to sit with ambivalence, entertaining two opposing emotions at the same time or two opposing thought directions. And I suppose the circumstance that we find ourselves in now with the coronavirus certainly brings up a lot of ambivalent emotions. We can feel a lot of gratitude for what we have, but we can also feel angry and resentful for the threats that we are currently experiencing to our livelihood, to our lives, to our health, to our well being, to our sanity. We can feel absolute joy at getting to spend more time with our kids and simultaneously feel like we want to murder them, like we just cannot cope with the suffocating claustrophobia of it all. And we can be, I suppose, very hopeful for the future whilst also being very fearful for the future. And all of these emotional states are very, very normal. I mean, there is no normal, I suppose, in the situation that we find ourselves in. And what's happening globally has the capacity to change how we live our lives forever, in such a drastic and dramatic way. And I think it's up to us as individuals to try to influence the direction that change goes in, as much as possible. We determine how we show up for our life on a daily basis at the minute. And our life then is determined by how we manage to show up. We can choose to focus on all of the negatives, or we can choose to switch our attention to the more positive aspects and try to work on them, try to cultivate them, try to develop them a little bit further. That's not denying the presence of fear and of anger and of uncertainty and the discomfort and the ambiguity and the pain involved in not knowing and in feeling like potentially you may suffer more in the future. However, it is just choosing in this very moment in time to hold faith that things will get better. And if anything is going to get us through this particular situation, it's been able to recognize the negative, recognize the emotions that aren't exactly beneficial to us, such as the anger, such as the fear, such as the uncertainty, such as all of these things, and to honor them, be present with them, be very mindful about them, but also not let them consume you, not let them eat you up, not let them dictate the way that you live these days. Because I think in some ways as well, this current situation will very much alter what is important to us. And I think up until now there's been a lot of focus on ambition, success, building your self-esteem, being amazing, being aesthetically wonderful, how good you are in the gym, how good you are in your workplace. And when it all boils down to it, I mean, what really matters is how close we are to our loved ones, how safe we feel in our own bodies, how safe we feel in our own lives, how accepting we are of our reality, and how aware we are of the impact that we have on other people. And I suppose an awful lot of the work that is promoted as being good for mental and emotional health is based around the self, but sometimes it goes a step too far, and we become almost self-centered. It's still very much based around the ego. It's all about, okay, how does my life affect me, as opposed to how does my life affect other people. And when we're kind of very much in the me focused place, that's when ambivalence can really take its toll. We feel like as if everything that we do has to be definite, has to be defined, and is a reflection on who we are. are. And that can leave us in a state of paralysis, particularly when we're not sure exactly what it is that we're feeling, or we're not sure exactly what it is that we think, because we're so attached to certainty, we're so attached to success, we're so assumptive that, everything has to be okay, and that we are in control of whether or not it's okay, that it's like as if it leaves us in this state of fear. It leaves us in this state of having to hold on to as much control as possible, and consequently we end up following the herd, even though that may not reflect who we are as an individual. And I suppose this is an opportunity for us to tap into our core values, to reassess who it is that we actually are, and what it is that's important to us, and what we want our life to stand for, and to be able to tolerate all of the many facets of ourselves, and see ourselves as more than just the person that we feel we need to reflect to society, in our workplaces, in our relationships, and reevaluate who it is that we need to be in order for our lives to be deemed fulfilling. Because there's a big difference between a fulfilling life and a successful life, and a lot of people will talk to you about esteem, and they'll talk to you about the importance of, looking out for yourself and self-care all the time, and self-love, and these are all fantastic concepts, but it is also about what you're leaving behind you. What is your legacy? What are you doing for other people? What are you doing for the planet? I mean, even just a little example today, people are, I was down just in a supermarket just picking up a few things, and I was in the car park, and so many of the car parking spaces had rubber gloves just discarded, clearly when people were getting into their car. And I was just like, so basically people are saying, fuck you, as long as I don't get sick, I don't care about what happens tomorrow to the planet, I don't care about, the environment, I just need to look after myself here. And it just really, really resonated with me. There are so many people at the moment that are turning a little bit, that are realizing, the importance of simplicity, doing the little things that make all of the difference. And yet there's still very much this kind of, okay, well, do you know what? Doesn't matter about anyone else. It's all about me here. As long as I don't get sick, I don't care about anyone else. And it's just, if we can try and use this opportunity, as I said, to reevaluate where we're at as people, to be able to tolerate the fear and the uncertainty, to be able to tolerate not being in control of our circumstances, to be able to tolerate being stuck at home with our kids, which is possibly the biggest challenge I'm experiencing at the moment. But just being able to get through all of these things and to appreciate it, because in some ways, even though it's very frustrating, I mean, I'm kind of trying to study, I'm trying to do all of these things at once, I'm also really, really enjoying spending more mindful and aware time with my son, kind of not always thinking, oh God, where do I have to be next? Just being like, okay, well, I'm in this situation, it's not going anywhere, so I may as well just make the most of it. And I think, as I said, we very much determine the way this thing plays out for us as individuals. That is if we stay well, and we have a choice. And the choice, if at all possible, should be one where you accept the fear, but you make the most of who you are and your capabilities as a person and your potential strength throughout this entire process, and come out the other side more evolved, more aware, and more humble about your role, both in your family, home, and I suppose globally, kind of more aware of the impact that one person can have on everybody else. Because right now we're in a situation where every person can make a difference. And if people comply, it makes a huge difference. If people choose not to comply, it makes a major difference also. So do the right thing here. This is your opportunity to shine in your own little subtle ways. Hope everyone stays well, and I will talk to you again soon.